Hey, hello everybody. My name is Tomasz Rot. I work for Barracuda Networks. I don't know how many of you guys actually know what Barracuda makes, and mainly probably if that you know Barracuda Networks, then mostly with you connect Barracuda Networks with Spam Filter, which was our main product from the beginning. And oh wait, 1 second. I have to disconnect myself. All right, so important because my old friends are going nuts. One in Boston because Celtics are playing playoffs. The Dutch friends going crazy about Ajax Amsterdam. One against Juventus. So the whole entire morning I just got emails and messages. Okay, so back to the. Barracuda Networks, yeah. Spam filters, but not only this, we actually do much more. We do network application security. We are famous and our firewall and web application firewall, web security gateways. We have email security as our core business, especially in the US, and data protection. We actually, I think, the only one security vendor in the market with such a wide portfolio right now. I actually switched from Barracuda from Checkpoint to Barracuda a year ago, and this is one of the reasons why I switched. Because on part I also teach at a university in Warsaw, cybersecurity counterterrorism research unit. So there's certain things that we're missing from Checkpoint. So we have a pretty wide portfolio of products. And as I said, emails are our main or domain. We are most famous for it and for this product. And as you can see, the numbers also indicated it. So we are processing and protecting over 1 billion emails a day. It's American billion, so I don't know if Hungary works with the milliard or whatever. Then over 60,000 emails protection customers. Then artificial intelligence trained on 2.5 million emails. I guess it's outdated because I'm sure the number is right now much higher, but 7 billion messages archived, and as I said before, leader in spam and virus prevention since 2003. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about and walk you through a little bit. Excuse me for my cold, because I drove here from Warsaw to Kecskemét. Was it good? Right, close. So my college times actually came like I felt like a college student again, driving from Boston to Santa Clara through the States. So it's always 9 hours from Warsaw to here. So anyway. So we are a leader in spam and virus prevention since 2003. And so through this presentation, I want to walk you through development of email threats and also how we are responding to those evolving threats and with new products, new approaches. Because as most of the security companies, we always this this catch-up game. We play the cat and mouse. And we are responding on what's all creative people come up with. So before I start, I want you to ask yourself a question: how you secure right now your emails? Are you doing only email security gateway? You're doing something more? And I walk you through and show why email security gateway is not enough currently. And you should know that because every day all those organizations had somehow implemented email security gateways, somehow signature or whatever reputation-based security, but nevertheless those breaches, those incidents happened, and research indicates actually pretty clear, Science Institute, that 74% of any kind of breaches and attacks starts with emails. Some numbers are actually even higher. We indicate it's like 90%. Verizon, I think, among all the email threats and attacks indicated it's phishing and spear phishing as a 96, 93%. And also you can see the spear phishing as a new thing. It's been actually it's been with us longer, but the how now it's used, it changed and evolved a little bit. So you can see that spear phishing is growing exponentially, and FBI indicates that that it was over 1,000% of increase of spear phishing attacks during these 2 years, 2015, 2017. The losses are also over $12 billion, and email attacks and especially business email compromise will surpass ransomware in next like a couple quarters, probably a year to two. This is a little bit oversimplified slide, but as I said before, this is how it started. At the beginning was we installed a spam and malware, which was enough in the early 2000. Then we had this, I don't know why the fonts are crooked, but anyway. Then we have this regulatory compliance request after all, Wall Street, Enron, whatsoever. So we had this archiving, backups, and so on. Then the zero-day attacks came. And targeted attacks, so we come up with pretty much responded with sandboxing, then the phishing, the old phishing that we know, with this kind of spray and pray mass emails from, I'm sure you're all rich now from Nigerian prince, you inherited tons of money from Nigeria, and then we have the brand impersonation, which is also kind of the phishing. When we have the UPS or DHL emails that we need to change, like the delivery address whatsoever. Then we had the ransomware lately that also came mostly through emails. Spear phishing, social engineering, business email compromise, account takeovers. Those are the new commerce, new trends that actually bypass any kind of email security that we have installed, and I show you in a moment why they're so dangerous and why current security measures don't really apply to those kind of attacks. So anyway, so let's a little bit put it in context. So this is the early days, and it was very simple. We had the emails, mail server, deliver, thank you, everyone trusts each other. Worked perfectly, and I don't know why it's not like that anymore. It was so much easier. But then, as more and more spam came through the emails with attachments, we start installing some kind of layer of security. The first layer of security was a spam and firewall, keeping this based on reputation and signatures, keeping those unlegitimate emails outside. Then, people noticed that email is actually a very important business tool, and a lot of knowledge and a lot of documents go through emails, and a lot of information are in people's inboxes, mail servers. So, and also the compliance, not to mention GDPR, because GDPR is a new thing, but DLP was existed before. So we put on top of a DLP backup archiving. So just to emphasize the importance of the emails. Then later on came the zero-day attacks, targeted attacks, very sophisticated attacks. So we put sandboxing. So we started detonating attachments in a virtual environments. Trying to detonate or checking URL filtering, URLs, attached links, and so on, and it worked pretty fine, I guess. Every vendor has a different approach to this sandboxing and has its own like pitch line and whatever. But nevertheless, the next step became social engineering, as the attackers realized two things: that this is extremely expensive to create a zero-day. That's why there is a very few. From my checkpoint days, I remember pushing sandboxing, the sandblast, talking to the customers, strategic customers, and there is a very little the catch rate is high, but not many attacks. So came through it because when we think about hackers or any kind of, those are criminals. They have economic motives, and if the cost of creating a zero-day is higher than potential gain, they just won't do it. So they found out, what was actually obvious from very beginning, that the weakest link in a security chain is also a human being. So they come with the social engineering. And the social media, they actually made it even easier for them to create the target attacks. We provide the information to the hackers through the LinkedIn, voluntarily. We also did, when we do POCs at one of the large energy company, actually it was an OT, but we kind of came up with the idea how to compromise the network and how to find what is behind, what kind of SCADA controllers an energy company uses and implement it. It's enough to go to LinkedIn, look at the admins, see the discussion forums, and then you know that they'll probably sign up for the discussion forums of the technology they implemented. So anyway, going back to social engineering, so it's pretty easy to find out and catch the attention of an employee or man. And if that wouldn't be enough, we now have combined on our mobile devices. We have combined inboxes. That's, if you use Office 365 or Outlook Agent on iOS, then all this you don't even notice, is this private email or this is email from your business account. So of course this is another gateway for the attackers and criminals to go through our emails and kind of force us or trick us to interact with them. And then we have an account takeover. I'm sure you heard of those, because this is actually probably the meanest attack and meanest thing from all this, what I presented so far, because this is a kind of lateral movement, so horizontal, and this movement of emails doesn't even go through email security gateway. So when we have a compromised account inside of our organizations, then it's done. I mean, they can do whatever they want, especially if they manage to compromise one of the senior accounts, our senior management accounts. So the gateways are pretty open now. So that's the reason why we need new layers of defense, new approach to how to defend. And this is pretty obvious that we still need a gateway security, but it's not longer sufficient. And so this is how it pretty much looks, like summarizing the couple of emails slides before. So what we have right now, then the email comes, this checks the reputation, of course. You have a sandbox. You have the any kind of, if it comes with a payload, it's been probably stopped somewhere here. But the social engineering, it goes all nice next to our fancy security solutions. So what we need to add on a traditional security stack, it's according to Barracuda networks and actually most of the current vendors, they agree that use of artificial intelligence, this is the only way to catch threats and attacks with zero payload, as we have to detect any kind of anomalies in communication. And because we are dealing with such a vast amount of data, it has to be a powerful engine, it has to be adaptive. So we definitely want to use communication history to predict future attacks, because we know from the security that to find like any kind of anomaly, we need to build a baseline, and building a baseline through email could just takes ages, and we want actually security and a system that starts working and protecting us from zero for the first day. Like we just implemented, read the history, and we know already our baseline, and system that learns the and builds a profile of the user. And a human intelligence. This is something very obvious, but yet not a lot of companies put enough emphasis and enough attention on that, on training, tracking the progress of the training and of the employees, and also identifying the employees that are a biggest threat to your organizations. So this is, we have to actually change the perspective and change our customers from liability to actually to a key element of our security solution. And so we have to, as I said, train employees to resist security threats, to recognize security threats, to report security threats, and it's all combined in, and will protect us against the threats. So multi-layered, how we see it is, of course, we have the Office 365 G Suite, whatever exchange. Then we put the gateway defense. So outbound security, of course, we have the DLP, encryption, archive for compliance. This is the traditional layer of security, email security. Then we have the resiliency, backup, email continuity, because as I said before, emails are probably the one, if not the most important business tool right now. And now we have the new layer of inbox defense. Then we have this artificial intelligence for social engineering, catching the zero payload, spearphishing, targeted attack, account takeover defense, a system that recognizes that this account actually start behaving like not normal anomaly, and probably separate this account. If we see that new patterns of communication do not play together with what was before, how they acted before, weird locations, weird hours, weird requests from this account, then we have to definitely flag this user and put him in quarantine, whatever our security policy. We write in our security policy, and we start really think about the brand protection through the DMARC reports. Anyone familiar with the DMARC? This is something American, which coming to Europe. It's probably European Union. It's working on that. This is the domain message authentication and reporting. And compliance. So this is pretty much, the SPF, DKIM stuff, which is traditional way how you control your domain. But this is the reporting. So not only that you get this reporting, so you see who's using your domain, because nowadays we have the marketing automation, lots of partners actually, and systems sending emails automatically in our behalf, and but we barely see who uses where sends, and so we can implement the policies and have control over use of our domain. And we know that as in a commercial, as an enterprise, we fight to engage our customers, and the last thing that we want, that our domain is compromised and is treated like another UPS emails, which we think twice or 3 times before we open it. So, and then the security awareness layer that I was already mentioned before, simulation and training, and we have to treat it as a continuous effort. It can't be only one training. Someone comes with slides, talks to our employees, and show like funny sometimes videos, use cases where someone clicks, something disaster happened whatsoever. It has to be something like a classical dimming circle when we train someone, check on him, test, do like run own phishing simulation campaigns, recognize where there are gaps, train them again, and so on. So that has to be continuous. And we can also play some gamification, tricks to it, reward good behavior, make it just fun to our customers. But for that, we need, of course, tools. So, and on top of everything, we have, of course, the forensic incident response. So when our admins are sitting, they have tools. They don't have, if something happens, if something goes through all this security layers of defense, whatever we call it, we have admins that can identify entry point of a threat, see who had a contact with this email, and just mitigate immediately the threat by removing it automatically from all inboxes, and start remediation if something happens. And that's the key to it is, of course, automation, because tedious and manual work won't work anymore, because all our admins have enough to do. They don't have to chase a single email through all inboxes in our company. So, so we have, again, inbound ATP, of course, what I said before. We have outbound encryption, DLP, so encryption, securing data. We have archiving for compliance. Then we have this cloud backup and email continuity. This is all on the realized on the or any kind of good email security gateway. So traditionally, remember, even if we all go to Office 365, we need to back up our inboxes. We should remember and look closer into retention policies of Microsoft or Google or wherever we're going to migrate our inboxes. Usually, they don't protect us against any kind of accidental deletion. If something gets deleted, it's gone. After 15 days, 30 days, it's gone. So, and some people use, trash or can as their like kind of, oh, I'll park this email here, and then after 15 days, it's gone, right? So anyway, also this is like small thing that maybe Microsoft not always is telling you or to the customers. Imagine if you migrate to Office 365 this year, you sign a contract with Microsoft, 24, 36 months, whatever, and then after 36 months, you look at the Google and they have like 50% of the price of what you're paying for Microsoft, and you would like to migrate. And how you migrate, let's say 300 inboxes from day 1 to day 2. And no one says at Microsoft will tell you in what form you will get your emails, your data that you stored over 3 years. And how fast you are going to get it? Is it 30 days, 1 day? You don't know it. And if you have backup and archiving, it's pretty much switching between providers is just 1 day, because from archiving system you can retrieve your emails within 1 day, exactly with the structure of the folders. So 1 day you finish your work at 5. Come next day, 9 o'clock, you open and you don't even know that you're not anymore at Office 365 or you're not anymore with Microsoft, you're with Google, because everything looks the same pretty much. So this is one of the things that we should keep in mind, actually, that not only the whole security, but we also, data protection is very important, and we also responsible for our data, even though we migrated to cloud. This is our data, and we are definitely responsible for it, what's happening with it, how it's secured. So now, again, we have the social engineering protection layer, use of artificial intelligence, account takeover protection, so finding out compromised accounts, any kind of anomalies that we can detect, remediate, identify, demark, protection of your brand, of your domain, which is, from the business perspective, one of the most important things we should look for and look closer, especially nowadays where the spear phishing, the phishing is so prevalent. So and deploy your human firewall, simulation, training, reporting and insights. So we really want to include our employees. We don't want to limit them. We want to include them. We want to make fun for them to participate in a security game, and make them like really this kind of spotters of threats. So in automate, it's also talk about already automate incident response. Like the key to success here is, of course, the automation, identification, investigation, and automated response, where we don't have to go through every single inbox. And forensics, definitely very important. We don't, we want to learn on our, I wouldn't say mistakes, but incidents, and avoid them in the future. And of course, a little bit of Barracuda directly in a product stack. We have this Barracuda Essential, which is, I talked before, like more traditional approach on a gateway level, when we have this gateway defense with all this malware, sandboxing, etc., with resilience, with backup and archiving. Then we have this inbox defense, which is a Sentinel and a protection against spear phishing, and we have a fish line. That's like a SAS platform, security awareness, training, and they call it actually social engineering scientists. That's what they call us in the US, at least. And that's what also makes very exciting working for Barracuda for me. And so anyway, so those are all together and of course the forensic and incident response. Those are separate products, then all together built, so to speak, total email protection, how we call it, and full stack of solutions. So moving forward, what I would suggest for you, coming back to the question from the beginning of my presentation, think about identify your gaps in email protection stack. You're using only email security gateway. You're doing something more. Look at how it looks today. And you have also useful tools to do it. We have some free of charge ETS, which is email threat scanner. You can check and give it a run, and after 30 days come with a report where you have potential gaps. I'm sure Trend Micro or Symantec has similar tools, so any tool is good just to check of where your potential threats and weak points of your email protection stack is. Yeah, and secure more than just a gateway. And if you want more resources, read more about what I just talked about. There's tons of material on our website, Barracuda Total Protection. As I said, email threat scanner you can access, and you can give a run 30 days of essentials. Our based any kind of product of Barracuda is actually trial for 30 days, so you can download it from the website or reach out to our distributor, SafeSoft, or myself. And yeah, that's it. Kusama?